came, I waited. There were two of them down there then, with shoveling up the road. But I don't, he kept getting his cell phone.
Were they okay?
I don't know. He was doing like this and he was talking to me and I was like,
Oh, my
"Oh, it
goodness.
won't be about you.
Oh,
Council
goodness.
member Kirkland missing you."
Well, if it was a cell phone disguised as a pistol, I might be a little more nervous.
I mean, he thinks that I am gonna stop and read his phone?
That's a good point.
This is gonna, the way
Yeah,
it's printed,
okay.
you're gonna have to kind of thumb
That's
through.
fine, okay. All right.
So,
I have the semi-official looking, there's Brad there. I have the semi-official looking version at home, but I didn't do that, so. That's funny.
sorry, know where I'm going anyway.
I'm curious of what, I'm curious of what that officer, if he talked to him, what he said.
I'm good, how are you?
Did you do this?
Last time, yes. Cause I feel like we need to be prepared. I know, right? Felt it.
No, he just came out of the woods, right down below from this house, down there at Allen's place. And I thought, what's this guy doing that can't speak English with a cell phone in his hand?
Wait a
coming
minute,
out of the
you're-
woods? And he just popped through
She's
the woods.
chasing your lawn and garden people around down there, right?
Only thing I left in my house was a turkey this morning. I didn't leave it long and garden first.
And I was gonna call you and
It's
say.
It's a
"You don't
Hispanic
make sure you
turkey
check
man,
the
a
house
turkey
like
hunter
you
was
do."
down there, and he's like, look, I'm just
Oh,
asking.
let me,
Prop it
me check my
there,
camera.
you just prop it right there for the moment, because I want to make sure they arrive. Yeah,
Told him I called him. I had my window down and he was speaking and coming down.
because I wasn't
And I said,
100% sure there.
I don't understand. And he took off. He had a phone, Rob was right, he may be wanting to have you read what he was saying, but
You just described the typical tourist that I saw in Italy, running around with all those.
I didn't want him to get that close to me. I didn't have my weapon with me. If I had my weapon, it wouldn't have been all right.
well, maybe don't stop next time, Gluck. That's the first step.
I mean, you never see that on our.
Barry would have stopped, and he speaks Spanish. So he
Who would?
Barry, later he would have come out. He speaks Spanish on your streets.
Yeah.
Okay, Brad, you up on that pledge? Yes, sir. Okay. All right, Glenda, you on deck for those minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right, so what we, how you doing? Good, how are you, Mayor? Do well, do well. Okay, so what we got here on this principles thing here is that Ms. Wilson
Okay.
would like to come tonight. Mr. Mason would like to come to the next meeting. I've left messages in both directions for Ms. Woodruff. So if she comes in, she's good. If she doesn't, she will also be at the next meeting along with the high school. The gentleman that's filling in. The let's see here. Ms. Floyd, who is on one of the school board representatives for our area, Ms. Stephanie Floyd, she is at the Centerpoint city council meeting now, but plans to leave there and come straight here. So she would actually like to be here to say a few things, and I told her that we were doing some presenting. So I say all that to say that we may be, this is going to be a twofer, so we may be doing having a couple of people tonight and then do it again at the next meeting, so. It's easier that way, so we might get more information out of them anyway, because you know how they always point to the other one and say, hey, you speak or something, so. All right. Looks like we got some bills to pay, so. Miss Irvin, you on deck on those bills?
Sure am.
Alright. Then next will be a public hearing concerning the Valley Crest subdivision, which we've already had one semi-preliminary hearing, and then, but this is the one we re-advertised. The representatives for the owner of the property are actually supposed to be here tonight and all, so we'll hit that. Then we also have an ordinance of annexation at 6840 Ridgewood Drive. John, will you put that on the table?
Okay.
Now, we are approaching a time window, or basically upon a time window when continuing annexation of occupied property where people live there is probably not a good idea, because it takes a bit of time, and Marie can probably fill in the gaps or what I might not be doing well, but they have to have time for the process to go through for all the annexation, the proper advertising, the sending it down to the courthouse, and then probating, and then that has to then be referred over to the Board of Registrars in order for them to know what the scoop is on that. And so the last thing you want to have is just people thinking they're in the city when in the reality they're not, and then, then on the election date comes around and it becomes a big to-do. So do you want to say anything about that part?
Well, I did ask Chris, and he said that he had nothing that he knows of right now. So
Other than this one? Okay.
yeah. And so we can, if this passes tonight, then we'll go ahead and go through the proper channels, protocol, get this posted, and then that can be the last one until
Okay.
after
If
elections.
somebody knows somebody that, like, right now, they're like, I'm chomping at the bit to come in, please have them get in touch with us ASAP, and then that way I'll call the Board of Registrars and we can say, okay, what's the scoop? But we really don't want to do any more is what we
Yeah,
want, so.
well, and the Secretary of State too,
Yeah.
because we'll have to get
Yeah.
voters.
Now, we
lists.
can still annex properties, they just can't have people on the properties, okay? So it's okay we can still annex property, but it just needs to be empty property on there, because it's the voters is where the problem lies, not the actual bringing in the land, so. Anyway, so does anybody know of somebody or anything on that? I mean, if not, I could make an announcement tonight during the meeting and say, hey, look, we're not going to be taking any more annexations. We have to cut it off due to these rules. But I don't want to say that if anybody doesn't like it.
I don't know
Everybody's
anyone.
good?
I don't know of anybody.
Okay.
Well, and
That's
qualifying candidate qualifying will start June 10th.
Okay.
So we'll need to make sure that we've got everything done so that our list will be accurate.
Yeah. I
as
mean,
soon
I would
as
prefer to
possible.
stop, but again, like I say, I don't
Yeah.
want anybody to look like
Well,
this is a
yeah.
last minute scenario thing on there, but it is the normal to not have annexation, just so that, now, someone can move into the city in an existing property that's within the limits, and I don't know exactly what the rules are, but it's not too far in advance and actually still like 30 days before or something like that, and
Yeah.
get registered to vote and all, so.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, people could still move in and vote, they just can't move in. They can't already be here, but not actually be in the city, that's where the problem lies. It's more it's the land is the problem, not necessarily somebody moving into an existing home. All right. On the mayor's report, I got several things that I'll run through down here. Let's see here. Nothing that probably y'all need that won't speak for itself during the thing. time later, I'll elaborate a little bit more on there. Was there any old business that you guys knew about that? Marie and I couldn't find anything.
No, I don't have any. John, do you have any?
Okay, under new business, we've got one thing down here, which is the ALM delegates, and I have something else I want us to add with y'all's permission. So we have to send in delegates for the Alabama League of Municipalities. Is that a convention or a conference?
It's
or-
Convention.
Convention, okay. We have to send those in well in advance, so the deadline is rapidly approaching, so you guys need to be thinking about that, and so like I said, we'll need a first,
First, second, and third alternate.
yeah, we need a,
First, second.
we need a representative, and then we need a first and second alternate, I guess it is, so three volunteers there on the thing, so. The next thing is something else that I discovered earlier today. We had the Greenways Commission meeting, and it was brought to my attention that we have not yet paid our contribution to the Turkey Creek Nature Preserve scenario. So we used to give the money to Birmingham Southern, I think it was, and then they did it, and then, of course, Birmingham Southern, it was rolled off and went over to, which one of the?
Is it red? What's that red?
No,
What's the
it's
name of
the,
that
oh, good grief, what's the name of the, I can't believe I can't think of the name of it. They're gonna wring my neck because it's one of the parks. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, that was last year because they were in a transition, but now that the Greenways Commission is fully established, has its own deal and all, that's who we'd actually make the check out to. So we have it in the budget for a contribution for it for $25,000. That's how much they're asking for. So if it's acceptable to you guys, I'd like for us to put under new business to go ahead and make our contribution for the Turkey Creek Nature Preserve. And basically this money goes over there and helps fund some of the cost of the personnel that's over there, so.
Well, it's not helping pay anybody's salary now, is it? Because we did do that with the other guy that
I
was
think
there.
I think it still does, because like I say, they have their own pool, and then they have all their own staff and everything, so. And they have a new guy over there that's basically the on-site person and all that kind of jazz, so, yeah. So, yeah, it goes toward that. We're getting a whole lot more back now than what we're having to put in, that's for sure, with the new funding mechanism. Basically, now we're part of a, Ruffner Mountain is the name of the other
Yes.
thing over there. And so we're now basically, this is a state agency, which is really nice because now we have the prestige of Turkey Creek being part of a state deal, which gets their attention more in Montgomery when we're trying to get the funding and stuff together. It's allowed us to be able to be opened up a lot more for grants and things that we were not eligible for before. This has opened this up considerably. So again, we're getting a lot more bang for our buck over there. So that was a scoop. Would someone like to offer it?
I will.
Okay. So we will, it is technically the Jefferson County Greenways Commission. For, and if you want to say that, for Turkey Creek. In the amount of $25,000. All right. Marie, do we know if we have any, let's see. Other than the stuff we're doing tonight, do we have any department head stuff or anything anybody wants to have on deck? I don't think so, but I'm sitting here thinking through some of the stuff. We've got some other business and stuff that's going on, but it doesn't necessarily have to apply to all this. All right, so Was there anything else that we needed up here?
I'll be a delegate if y'all want me to.
Oh, okay, yeah, we can discuss that. You, do we know, Marie, do we look and see what the dates were? I mean, when that
think it's the-
meeting is?
The delegate meeting,
Is it on Friday?
let me look,
We're gonna
because I
check the
don't know
calendar
for sure.
on the thing there. Scott, if you want to go ahead and be setting up here on the thing, you can, so. Okay. So while she's looking for that, I've asked Mr. Ragsdale to come back, kind of give a little update on our Veterans Honor Park. Some folks have been asking about, what was happening and everything, and so we thought it'd be a good idea for him. So I asked him if he'd come during the pre-council and kind of bring you guys up to speed. And we've discovered a few things during our research, and some sites are not as good as others. I guess is a good way to put it. So
It's
No,
Thursday.
Thursday.
it's on Thursday. Okay, all right. So is it what time of the day is it?
It says 4 to 5.
Okay, that's
Four
not,
to
that's
five
that's
PM.
that's a mighty fast there on that thing. Okay, all right.
That's my nap time.
Okay, well, Friday I'm a little tentative. That's the reason why I was asking because I'm supposed to be in.
There's nothing on the
Houston.
schedule for Friday. It's just the 13th, 14th, 15th.
Oh, so it's over with on Thursday.
Thursday
Oh, they
night,
checked my calendar.
the closing's at 8 Thursday night, so.
Okay, okay. Any other volunteers here for, or 1, 2, 3? I mean, I didn't know how it was. So you want to be the primary?
Sure.
John, do you wanna be the alternate?
Don't make any difference.
I can be an alternate.
You're gonna have to have,
Three.
she's gonna be the.
Fred, you
man,
wanna be-
one, and
1, a
you
2, and a 3. I can be I can be number
I know
2.
Hoyt's going as well, so I need
I would
him.
probably opt out of this one because we may have to jet pretty quick for Jordan.
Okay, I'll be the third alternate.
Okay.
So,
Put the beauty filter on up there, especially if it's pointing toward us. Miss Jackie,
voting
could
day
you hear me?
delegate.
All right. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's, who will make the motion on the ALM delegates? Mr. Walker, would you do that also, perhaps, since we've got all the other people that's not doing that?
I
so.
can.
Okay.
So we've got Letitia's the primary. Who was the first?
John,
Of
John.
me.
Oh,
Robbie.
Robbie's first.
Robbie's first.
And Glenda.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'll recognize you. You just handle out whatever it is. If y'all want to debate it out, you can there on the thing. Okay, Scott, sorry. We'll give you our undivided here.
No worries. I hope thanks for having me back again. This is the update for the Veterans Park that I had made the introduction to get proposed. As Mayor Roberts had indicated, the initial design and place of it was at the entry point going into the Bicentennial Park. And working with the mayor and with Chris Sherritt and the inspector, we kind of looked at it, and there were some concerns about some flooding part of that. And so I reached out to a survey team, an engineering team. $3,600 later, it's a complete disastrous place to put it. Just the creek behind it. He said that you would go into thousands and thousands of dollars for constructing and the engineering and for the drainage to support even the 8-foot columns that I wanted up there. So as part of it, it's part of the process. Within that time frame, I had reached out to Shay Shelnut asking for funding from the state legislature. No problems, he said, with that. Little paperwork hiccup, but with the support and the backbone and expeditious conversation by Mayor Roberts. I think we'll have that funding next week. And so the city of Pinson is getting $10,000 from the state of Alabama / Jefferson County to help support this mission. With that being said, we have to look at different areas for this Veterans Park to go in, just because of the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for it to be going into the Bicentennial Park. So, in speaking with Mayor Roberts, he said go hunting. So I went hunting for a different spot. I sent a slide. I don't know if that's available, if that can come up there or not. But essentially, I guess while we're waiting
Well,
on
Scott,
that,
who'd you send it to?
I sent it to Brad.
I have it.
Okay, good.
Let me see if
Yeah.
I can get connected here.
It was just a simple PDF.
No, that's fine. We'll
Yeah.
bring it up.
And
I
so,
do want to tell you something that's funny, and that is there's irony there. The creek that's back there that creates all the trouble, the name of it is Dry Creek.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's a big oxymoron for
Yeah,
this
I
project.
can tell you that when it's at flood stage, it is anything but that, so.
So in looking at different areas, the first one that came up to my mind was the Triangle Park across the intersection. There is that is the staple point for the city of Pinson. I've been here all my life, except for the time I was in the service, and that is just like the main intersection that belonged to the city of Pinson. With that being said, it's ADA compliant, has a parking already, and so in talking with Mr. Ferris, I said, can you just give me just what you need or what your concerns are for moving it to that spot? His concern was the Butterbean Festival. The second concern was just making sure that if it did go there, that it was placed back enough off of the county and the state easements, and just to be, get the people out to make sure that if there is digging there, that we're not hitting plumbing and electrical and things and sewage and things of that nature. There probably are other areas that it could be put in. Mayor Roberts and I discussed about the little small triangle place on Sweeney Hollow Road, but that doesn't really reflect, I just want it to be visible to everybody in the city of Pinson, and this is the city of Pinson. I have letters of commitments for lighting, for all the columns, the signs, the statues. I have letters of commitments for flagpole. I have all the labor that is needed to erect these columns, and these are all letters of commitments from Monroe Construction. I have all the machinery from Monroe Construction, all the material will be purchased by myself. The paint has been designated by Sherwin-Williams. The flags, all the flags are being dedicated by USA Veterans flags. Caprine Engineering is the one who's doing the drawings and the engineering for this project. If you look on I think I saw.
I like the bigger version better.
Yeah, that's not for the blind folks, like myself.
He had it really.
If we go back to the first page on that, Brad,
Yeah, let me
Brad,
see.
are you controlling that?
I am.
Slowly?
Trying, go
Well-
to the left and the right.
Well, right there, that's a topical view of looking at the Triangle Park area, looking down at it. It essentially has the sign in the front of it, the American flag right behind it, and the 6 statues going at an angle, sort of at a point behind the American flag. And as the original design was, on the right side you would have the small white column that had the oath of enlistment, and on the far right side, unfortunately, the cross that represented the ones who didn't make it home. So this right here, if you can start right there, this is where, when the engineering firm got back with me, they said the red line that represents the Dry Creek, they wanted to move this area, if we did it on this area, they wanted to move it from where the circle is back to where the other area is, and that's almost completely out of visibility. And I thought it would be different. I thought you'd want to kind of move it closer, but it was completely opposite. So, they're visible. I want to be visible, but I don't want to be hidden and visible, especially when the vegetation grows around the trees. So based off Mayor's and Chris's flood research and the engineering, I just scratched it. I just wanted to show you where I originally wanted it with a circle and how they moved it back, and I don't care for that. If I'm going to do the work, if I got the funding and I've got everything for it, I want it where people can see it. I don't want it hid. If it did, I'd paint it green like Army, and we'd all be hidden in a tree. So I don't want it there. I would like not to have it there. So this is a Google Maps with all the activity. If you look across the street, this was during that time. That's live on Google Maps now. And so what I did, I got this photo, and Brad, if you don't mind, sir, if you go to the next one. There should be one more that has a column where you can see it.
Oh, yep,
There it is.
Sorry.
There it is. So this, right here, what you see on the screen now, this is what it would look like. So this is the downtown heart of the city of Pinson. We're moving it from the Bicentennial entrance into this area. And so that's why I'm here, to give you the update. So everything is a go. This now I believe comes a sensitive part of it. When I presented this, getting all the funding that I gotten and I'm going to provide and all the material, I would have liked the park to be named after me. There's veterans in our area who have died. Serving with them, it's just a gratitude that we cannot describe. We just can't. And there have been veterans who have been before me. There will be veterans after me. This is something that I wanted to do for the city of Pinson. And, I would like for this park, Triangle Park does not have a name. It just don't. I mean, we all know it is Triangle Park, but it's not Triangle Park. I mean, I don't think there's any city, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no city ordinance or city naming of it. I don't know that. But, in this design, during this design and when it's completed, everybody has their legacy. Everybody has their staple, and this is what I was looking for. I love what I did in the service. We have great service members. I'm still friends with people who are service members from the city of Pinson. And the veterans who have reached out to me since the initial presentation has been just overwhelming, just from the city of Pinson, Leeds, Palmerdale, of that nature. But back to the area, this is where I would like for it to go. So that's where we're at. So the funding is there. I guess Mayor will have the actual check in hand. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, sometime next week.
I spoke back with the folks down there, and they are supposed to have the check either late this week or early next week, and they invited me to come down and pick it up so that there wouldn't be any confusion about with the Postal Service. So, which we've known that can be interesting. So they said that their legal team had already gone through the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb, and they felt really good. So I think yes,
Okay.
that should be in place.
So that's the update. I'm about 2 weeks behind because of, I want to have a clear cut if we had that money. I wasn't needing it. I just reached out driving on vacation one day, and he said, sure, not a problem. Boom. And I was like, wow, that's quick. That quick from Shea Shellnut. So I wanted to make sure that was set in stone, and we had that, and I had all these, every one of these layers of commitment showing that this is not, it could happen. It's there. It's just waiting. I just need an area to have it built. So that's where we're at. Questions, concerns?
One thing I see right off the bat, Scott, is that, and I love being able to have the 3D scenario there, is that these utility poles seem to be distracting from the design.
I can't get around that. I looked at it, there's just no way around it, but I think the color, the bold colors that represent each 6 branches of service will just fade those out. The only issue that was there was the historical marker that was there, to be placed somewhere else, on that property. You know, like I said, it's got the pavilion, it's got the parking, it's the ADA compliance with it. I think the only other concern is having a big tub of butter beans by it and a trailer where we pet goats and cows. So, but there was no way around the the electricity poles, obviously, so. So I guess what the update that we're looking for is twofold. One, this park here. And secondly, I guess the naming of it. So,
basically, this is, like I say, this is the site that Scott likes. He wants this site, and we had this conversation here, and I'm like, certainly that's a place that people would see, and we're not, like I say, this is not something we want to hide under a bushel basket, that's for sure.
Lot of traffic through there for sure. Definitely get a lot of visibility.
The, another site that, and actually, when you said that, I don't know that that had clicked, but the triangle that's there, in the curve in Sweeney Hollow, which we've talked about putting an entrance sign, welcome to Pinson or something there at, that actually is another good idea. I had not thought about that one. The other spot that, Mr. Ferris and I had talked about was actually further up Sweeney Hollow, would be a part of the, on the grounds of the Bicentennial Park itself,
Well,
right there.
well, I drove up there yesterday, and when you go into the Bicentennial Park, that's what, up in the Bicentennial Park, in that left-hand corner, up there on a hill.
Right.
So, you know, before you make that curve to the
Correct.
bathroom, up there on that hill where there's a cut-down tree, a stub is there. So I had looked at that one as a alternate.
So as you drive along the road there, the background would be really nice, and that was kind of my thinking there on that. And, you know, it's a high visibility, because like I say, especially going toward 79, you know, on that, I'm not saying you couldn't see it from the other side, but it's, as you head toward, in that direction, which I guess would be heading west, it would be very picturesque there in that particular. But again, this is an opportunity for you guys to think about it and think about the site. So basically what he has to have is that he's got funding here from the state, some of which will be needed for design work. And so the last thing you want to do is go in and get a design for a spot, and then the council say, well, we're not quite so sure about that spot. So you will need to think about it, and at some point give him some direction about what location you want before he brings in another, you know, brings in the engineering team and the survey team and all that kind of jazz on there. I did have one other reservation about Triangle, and that I thought about after we spoke, and that, because I was trying to process everything on there, and that was also at Christmas time, because that is a spot that we set up where we do a nice tree display and that sort of thing. And the way it looks here, there may be enough room to be able to put it down to the left, but we certainly wouldn't want to have a Christmas tree. You know, you don't want to really mix those particular things together, because you don't want to try to distract. A small tree might be appropriate, you know, as far as for within the memorial, but not in the not overwhelming the thing. So that's just my thoughts. But you guys,
I like Triangle Park because if you do it on the triangle on Sweeney Hollow, you could avoid Pinson.
right?
So I would prefer them to have to come in Pinson. Their kids are sitting on the pavilion. They want something to eat. Yada, yada, yada. We're going to get the business. I think for the Christmas tree, instead of doing the presents in the tree this direction, just do it on the other side of the triangle, and you can see it as you're coming out of Center Point. But I think I like Triangle Park the best,
Well,
because
thank
you
you.
could, if you go down Sweeney Hollow, you could literally just bypass and go right up the raindrop, and you've missed the whole city of Pinson.
You're right with that.
I mean, you're in Pinson, but you missed it. So,
Yeah. I mean, there are probably, like you said, other good locations, but this is probably the most prominent. It'll get the most visibility. It'll get, you know, people will be talking about this, I think. So, probably be a good draw to the city as well.
Well, I think it's gonna take more than just 2 or 3 conversations to decide this. This is something that it's great to get and have, but we got to look at all aspects of what we're doing for now as well as 20 years down the road. So, I just, I don't think we need to get in too big of a hurry because it's not gonna work.
So, okay. Linda, do you have anything?
No, we don't ever have any plans of developing that as an out parcel there, is that not enough acreage to do
I
that?
don't think so, because I did look at that also, the possibility of, if at some point in time the city wanted to sell Triangle Park and put a business on there. That was actually looked at back during our, some business feasibility studies to see whether or not something, but there's just not enough room there with the setbacks and all. It would be just a small coffee shop drive-through type thing, Bob, am I correct? Yeah, so it's really just too limited as far as that, much less the potential public uproar that would occur unless it was Triangle,
Well, if there's not
whatever
enough-
the name of the thing
Not
was.
enough property there to do that, then that's just unusable property, it's just sitting there, so,
Yeah, it's a park.
yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. Now, Scott, I'm not the, and I know we've had the conversation privately, about the aspect of the naming and everything, and, personally, that's my biggest hurdle, only because of the fact that, it is taxpayer-owned land and everything over there, on that. I'm not sure what the repercussions would be on that as far as from the community, nor, I'd have to get with our legal team and find out, exactly what happens when you're talking about naming something like that. But that's just with the naming. Like I say, that site, definitely. I want this to be somewhere it can be seen, and so I don't have any opposition necessarily to the site. But that's just me.
I have the funding, not from the $10,000. I have the engineering firm ready to go. I just need a site, ready to go.
Correct.
It has nothing to do with the $10,000. I've already, the $3,600 came out of my personal pocket. I get it. Cost of it, that's not the concern. I just need a site. That's all I need is a site.
But you definitely don't want to do anything.
Well, I'm not trying to do it again and have it be rejected, but I think as we discussed that there's no floodplain issues there.
And that is correct.
Right.
Which is good. We definitely want to avoid the floodplain. It's just not worth all the extra hassle factors.
I think what Scott is saying in a nice way is he wants to keep this moving, and he doesn't want to extend this conversation. So I guess, Counselor Churchwell, I know you mentioned of having multiple conversations. What are some of your reservations right at this moment?
What was that now?
I said, I know you mentioned about having multiple conversations before we make a decision. Do you have any reservations right at this moment for Triangle Park?
Yeah, but I'm not ready to discuss them. This is something we need to talk about together.
Okay. So, again, like I said, in a preliminary fashion scenario thing, I think that Hal had mentioned to me, we probably, since this is right there on Highway 75, this is something we definitely want to be having a conversation with AlDOT about, making sure what the distances are back off the road and all that sort of jazz is going on there. So I don't want you to, again, be doing anything and end up, getting into, we have to deal with those guys, and like I say, they kind of get a little fussy about things around the street. Bob, could you come forward for a second? We don't have just a few minutes here left before the meeting starts, but I know you've seen other projects of this nature and are very familiar with this sort of work. I didn't know, and like I say, you know the spot over here in Triangle where he's talking about and all, so.
You're right, we'd have to involve the DOT. It wouldn't be just about setbacks, but it'd be some site distance concerns that they would have to grace us with their approval. We're also going to have to consider all the utilities and where or not it interferes with their maintenance. We're going to have to protect the town as well when we move forward with this. This project's going to be in excess of $150,000 to $200,000 in total And in order to do something on the city's property that way, if you don't bond it and something goes sideways, you're gonna be stuck with the finishing of the, so there's lots of things, yes, that has to be addressed. We'd need the city engineer to review the engineering once that it's presented. So there's some steps here that are gonna have to be looked at and include other people such as DOT.
Well, I don't think anybody wants to see the project stall again, but I don't want to see you spending any more money
Well, I don't know why
on the
that check's
feasibility
in.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not good. So, I mean, I'd rather,
Everything has a review process, and this can't be any different because it's a safety hazard if it's not done properly. Those monuments are a severe safety hazard if they're not installed correctly. So the engineering's important, making sure that when we put down whatever pad's gonna be down there, that the utilities, if the lighting's gonna be underground, all that's gotta be reviewed. And yes, that's all gotta be ADA compliant. How it faces, is that gonna be a ADA hindrance? If we're gonna face it back towards City Hall, then you're coming around it. Is that gonna be a problem? It just, every little thing mounts up that does have to be reviewed, and that's why it's gonna take a little bit of time anyway.
okay. Scott, it's been very informative. Like I said, this is our pre-council meeting here. It gives us a chance to be a little more informal, gives you a chance to be able to give and take. I don't know what your schedule is this evening. I don't know if you're having to get out or not, but if you want to hang around, perhaps we could, one-on-one, we could have more conversations after the meeting and stuff, so, to learn a little bit more about the project and everything, so.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the, of what you've done for us also, or can you
Copy
send
of
it to
what?
us digitally? The presentation from tonight.
It was,
Yeah. I'll
Okay, can you forward it?
yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
okay, thank you very much.
All right, so. I see more guests have come in. This is good, this is good. Okay, so before we start again, I'm gonna repeat a couple of things for our education guests that are here. So, Ms. Floyd from the Board of Ed may be able to be in attendance tonight. So she's attending the Centerpoint City Council meeting, and when she could leave, she was going to try to come down here. So if they've gone into extra innings down there, then perhaps she won't make it in time. But we would like, every time that door bell goes off, I've been looking out because see whether or not she might be coming in the door. So if she comes, she would like to join the principals that are here tonight with the check. And maybe she might want to share a few words too while she's here, and maybe y'all could maybe talk to her about some possible enhancements that we might need in the city, so. But anyway, I wanted you guys to know what the scoop is on that, and I appreciate y'all coming on such short notice also, so thanks. It's about 7. Anybody need a break before we start? You guys
Nope,
good?
I don't.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Pinson City Council for April 17th, 2025 to order. We will now stand for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you happen to have electronic devices, please silence those at this time. Thank you. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you very much for this day, for this opportunity to be able to again serve you and serve the people of Pinson. Father, we thank you for this time of year, for the Easter season. We just want to thank you especially for sending your Son for us. Father, we just want to acknowledge the importance of this week and the impact that it's had throughout this country and throughout the community of Pinson. Father, we, as always, we want to lift up our first responders and those that are out in dangerous situations. We all need protection. Our citizens need protection, Father, from dangerous storms and things, but we ask especially for our first responders who are out there too. Give us wisdom tonight that we would be able to listen to folks, as we've got a big hearing coming up here, and we want to be able to get all the input to be able to make good decisions. We ask all this in your name. Amen.
Attention, Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Counselor Irvin?
Here.
Counselor Walker?
Here.
Counselor Sanders? Counselor Churchwell?
Here.
Counselor Kirkland?
Here.
Mayor Roberts?
Here. All right, so, Ms. Kirkland, do we have something regarding the minutes?
I would like to offer a motion to approve and waive the reading of the minutes for April the 3rd as written.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Was there anything on there that needed tuning up, or is all good? Sounds great. All in favor of approval of those minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those are done. Madam Clerk, excellent job as usual.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to jump just slightly here, just in case Ms. Floyd may come. Ms. Irvin, would you, do we have a report on the bill schedule?
Yes. I would like to offer a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $72,244.15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. We kind of jumped past this earlier. Was there anything on here that, that stood out?
The major thing is we paid for our deputies, which was $36,000, and that's for 1 month.
Okay, is this also, is that the invoice that just recently came in? Do we know? Let me see if I
haven't
can
seen
see it
it.
right quick. I wanted to elaborate just slightly about that for you guys.
Sure.
That amount sounds familiar. Oh, Miss Floyd's coming in, so this is great. Let me see it real quick here. I think this actually includes a little bit of bonus amount for you guys to be, yes, it does. Okay, so, just as a matter of understanding, the, this actually included about $6,000 worth of back, not dues, back payments that we owed them because, as you recall, Mr. Sherritt's not here tonight, but as you recall, we entered into a new contract with those folks, and it did not include enough hours as originally written. This was the contract now that the sheriff had sent. It wasn't our error, it was on their part, and then they, we called it and said, hey, look, we really do want to have these officers for this X amount of hours. They said, oh, oops, our fault. We were getting the officers for the hours that we required, which was actually no change from the previous years. They continued that on, but the paperwork did not catch up until now. So this is actually includes the $6,000, which is from last October until last month. So the new amount will actually be, monthly will actually be $30,655.98 to be able to do it. So this one is a little bit higher than normal because it's the catch-up bill, so. Anything else on there?
No, sir, Mr.
That was it.
Mayor.
All right, so, is there, if there's no other discussion, all in favor of paying these bills, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we will go ahead and get them their money. All right. Give me a second here. So we're going to have a special presentation at this time. And first, before we do that, I would like to have Ms. Stephanie Floyd, I'd like to invite you to come forward. And we are privileged to get to have one of our school board members here. Ms. Floyd represents part of Pinson. She actually, yes, ma'am. And I think the mic was still left on from the pre-council. You actually, my neighborhood is represented by Ms. Floyd. And so while I don't have kids in the school board anymore, it's still really exciting to have you on board there with that. Ms. Floyd and I have gotten a chance to get to know each other a little bit, and she is very enthusiastic about our students out here in Pinson. And I'm going to tell you something. She actively goes around and attends the ball events and the various things around here. She's not somebody just sitting over at the Homewood office getting reports from the principal. She is very active in these things. And it's, I know we've seen Mr. Dixon many times over the years. He's kind of from this area and all, but I want y'all to know that Ms. Floyd's been just as much as Ronnie getting to see her around here. So we do appreciate that. And so
Thank you.
I know you don't get a chance to get to talk to the group very often, but so I wanted you to be able to have a chance to say something. And you're here on a really good night because we're making some presentations and some money.
I know, we love that. So my name is Stephanie Floyd, as he alluded to. I am the Vice President of Jefferson County's Board of Education. I represent District 3, and District 3 has not only Pinson High School as one of its feeder patterns, but I also have Clay Chalkville, Centerpoint, Fultondale, and the Shades Valley High School feeder patterns as part of my district. I haven't seen you all in a little while, so I'm really glad to be able to be here. It's not for the money that I came, obviously. It really isn't. But I wanted to come and just make sure that, you know, that we are here to help support you all, and anything that you do to help support the schools is critically important to us. You know that it takes a village. No one person can raise children. It does take a community. So anytime that we have issues, we can bring it to the city and know that you all are going to be able to assist us. One of the things that we have had issues with in the past has been chronic absenteeism, but with a lot of concerted effort, that even in itself has been changing. We just want you to know how much we appreciate everything that you all do for us, and if there's anything that I can ever do for you, just please reach out. I'm only a phone call away. We have great principals within our feeder pattern that have been rooted in the community for quite some time. And as the mayor alluded to, we've had an opportunity to spend some time and enrich our relationship. It's just really good to be here this afternoon. I do have one student, I have 4 children, and one of my students graduated from Pinson High School several years ago. But we are still very rooted and grounded in the community. So thank you for allowing me to be here this afternoon.
Well, again, like I say, I'm excited about it. And I know you came before you were elected, and you told us you were going to be very involved, and you told us your background, and you know what? You actually done that. So that's really, really exciting to be able to have that, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now, I do know, and I know you might not be able to say very much, but I do know that you share our concerns about the search, which is soon to be starting for our new principal at the high school, Mr. Turner leaving. So I'm sure that you will also be telling Dr. G that we really have high expectations for his replacement. So
It's going to be really difficult to fill the shoes of Mr. Turner. He was extremely vocal and vital to the community, so he will be missed. But have no fear, Pinson is still very deep in our hearts. And if I have anything to do with it, which I probably do have a little bit to do with it, I'll try to make sure or make absolutely certain that we have the best person to fill that seat.
great.
Thanks for asking.
So if you'll stay close here for a few minutes, I'm going to ask a couple other young ladies to come up and give us a little bit of y'all don't have to talk very long, but in case you wanted to share, that'd be great. So both of y'all can come up at the same time, and we'll be set. So Miss Woodruff and Miss Wilson are both here, and so we're just.
Just go there.
Well, you
Okay.
could, if you, I'd like for you to say a couple of words
Sure,
there
absolutely.
beforehand, or more than a couple if you would like, so it's fine.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Brandy Wilson. I'm the proud principal at Johnson Elementary School, which is our third through fifth grade students. So we get our students from Pinson Elementary, and then they leave and go to Miss Woodruff and then the high school. As many of you know, I grew up here in Pinson. I graduated from Pinson Valley High School. I live in Pinson, so like they said, we are very rooted in the community, and I love this community very, very much. I have enjoyed my years at Johnson, and I'm so proud of the progress that we've made. Speaking about chronically absent, that was a very concerted effort on many of our schools' part this past year, and I'm proud to say that we went from 16% chronically absent to 9% last year, so that was a great big jump.
Wow.
And that was Miss Byers, one of our counselors, spoke with families. She came here one time to a council meeting We've just done a lot of mentoring with our students on why they should be at school every day and the importance, and so all of those efforts did show. And I also want to say thank you very much for this annual donation to our schools. Last year we were able to purchase new playground equipment. Our schools never had swings, and so now we have them, and the kids love them, and it has a nice surface underneath it, and so that was due to the donation, and so we appreciate that very much. Those are things that we could not do without the support of the community. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the Public Works people, and thank you for providing that service for us. That saves our school a lot of money, that we don't have to worry about our grass cutting, we don't have to pay that, and I really, really, really appreciate that. They do a fantastic job. They're always on time, and so thank y'all very, very much. That's a great crew of people, so that's
Great.
all I'm gonna say. Thank y'all for letting us come tonight.
Good evening. My name is Geraldine Woodruff, and I am the principal of Rudd Middle School, grades 6 through 8. And this is my first year as the principal of Rudd Middle School. Prior to that, I was the assistant principal at Pinson Valley High School for 6 years. And prior to that, I was at Rudd Middle School as assistant principal for a year, so I'm coming full circle. So I just want to say to the mayor and all of our councilmen and councilwomen, thank you all so much for supporting us in everything that we do, everything that we have tried to accomplish in Pinson. Thank you all so much for your help. We just finished, last Friday, we awarded some of our students for perfect attendance, all A's, AB honor roll, student of the month, and we had what was called a gaming day experience. And so we had about 52 arcade games, as well as the Nintendos, the PlayStations, things of that nature, set up in the gym, and we just celebrated our students all day, grades 6 through 8, to come in and just have some fun, have some concessions, and just have a good time. So they're still talking about it, and you know, with the help of the city, with your generous donation to us, we were able to provide that opportunity for our students. Today we just wrapped up with ACAP, so I'm excited because we've been doing this for 3 weeks, and so we are finally done. But we've been supporting our students with these shirts, We Are Ready, War, and ACAP, we're going for level 4 gold, which is the highest level, and we're just trying to increase our math scores and our reading scores at Rudd Middle School. And our state report card, we had a 75, so we're aiming for B status for the upcoming year. So thank you all for
That's
helping us, and we
fantastic.
really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We
So-
didn't even plan it, but we're Pinson colors. We didn't even plan it, but this is how we go.
So let me also, again, thank Ms. Woodruff publicly. As y'all know, we had just last month, we had a very major tornado event. Thank goodness we didn't have anything here in our particular area, but you never know when that's going to happen. I was made aware of the storm shelter up at Rudd Middle School. She was very gracious and allowed us to be able to open that up. And again, I want to publicly thank you again for letting us be able to have that. Many of the folks there, I want to make sure that we let you know that they really did appreciate it, because there was a lot of people up there and they didn't have another good place to go to. So we appreciate that again. So looking forward to working out some logistics to possibly be able to do that in the future. The fire chief immediately wanted to know all about it. So I think he went up there and did a site visit before even calling me. So it's interesting. So we have the big check, and then I have some that you might be able to actually negotiate a little bit better at your local bank here for you tonight too. But so if we can, and I want all 3 ladies to come up here so we can get a shot. Somebody have
I got it. You got it? Yeah. I'm always ready. First hold anyway.
When I say the big check, I mean the big check. So this constitutes the total amount of money that we'll be giving to all 4 schools. The other 2 schools will probably have a representative at the next meeting. But sometimes it's hard to get all the principals here at the same time, so anyway, so. Great. much. Let me see, I got them, yeah, those two. Yeah, this just won't fit through the drive-through window, standard deal, so I'm gonna leave this down here. Almost made a mistake. Sorry, it's the other way around on that. Thank you.
Want some more street names? I can't read any of those.
Well, that's always fun, so.
You can't.
All right, so moving from one fun thing to another is I'm going to suspend the rules so that we can have a planning and zoning hearing with regard to a subdivision request.
That's right.
And I'm actually going to let Mr. Jones comment on this particular aspect first. So the public hearing is now officially open. Mr. Jones, if you will give us all the particulars regarding this.
All right, well, this is our second public hearing. We took it on ourselves to send out the first round of notifications by certified mail, which isn't the law, but we thought it would be prudent. It wasn't. About half of them were refused. People would not take or go pick up the mail. So that's why we're having the second meeting. We reissued those letters and sent them regular mail to make sure we complied with law. Hopefully they got out. I don't see that many more people here, but so now we're just picking up where we left off on this rezoning. If this rezoning is approved, it just allows them then to continue with plans and bring a subdivision case to the Planning and Zoning Commission. And that's where the subdivision plans will be reviewed and brought to fruition if the project is approved. So this is contingent upon that approval of that subdivision. And also, I would like that you, when you make your motion, make sure you include that there's a 24-month reversionary clause if no action whatsoever on the property. And then they could bring it back at that time, but that's to ensure that no one else steps in and does something differently. This is, if it's approved for a specific purpose.
Great. Bob, was there digital, did they send the digital stuff there for being
We
able to
did
see?
send a map in. I don't know if Chris forwarded it or not, but you can get it up if I can get it to you, right?
Should be able to.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay, then I'll do so.
Okay.
If you're done with me, I'll do so at this time.
That will be good. That would be fine, thanks. Stay close, though.
Oh, I'm going to step right here.
So first off, we will have anyone in favor of this particular thing, which I know last time we had a little snafu there on the date, I believe it was. So anyway, go ahead. Please, anyone that speaks, please state your name and address for our clerk's record. So.
Thank you. We can share. I like him.
Are all you guys familiar with this since the first meeting? If
Yeah.
you are, I'm gonna address you a little bit differently about things that we have updated.
Okay. So, and we'll soon have it up on the screen, and if we need to, I could actually, are you driving from that particular one there? The iPad?
I can if I need to.
Well, I was just thinking we almost could just take a picture right here and then just throw that up on the screen. You could, that thing's got a camera on the back of it, doesn't it?
Should. City email.
Oh, you got the digital one there?
I'm not on the city email here, but I can see it.
It's got a, Marie, what
You
is
can
the,
do meetings at
Meetings,
the city
yeah.
council.
yeah. Give us a second here. I know the last time the public wasn't able to see the maps very good, so we're hoping to be able to get it up on the big screen here because it's kind of difficult to see. If we have it on the iPad, then Mr. Walker will be able to zoom in on some sections there too.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Sanders.
That's fine.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That's good.
There you go.
I don't know why y'all can't get a printer that's not as big as this whole dais. I don't want them to be distracted when you're speaking, so.
I'll wait, no worries.
Not yet. It's a large file, it may take a minute.
See, I was a little old school. I was just thinking, well, we just take a picture and then just throw the picture up. Probably be a little fuzzy.
Show it to you before I quit. It just comes up something.
Okay.
Must be a little bit. I bet everybody's loving looking at my rear end. Y'all hold
Should
that
I get
for
the
me.
big check back out?
All right, I got something to look at.
There we go.
Success.
Thanks, guys. You'll soon see it on the screen, but I think you now have our undivided, so.
No problem. If it's all right, I'll go ahead and start.
No, you're
Yep.
good.
Okay, I'm James Castee. I'm here tonight representing New Magic City Properties, which is going to be the owner and possibly the long-term developer of this subdivision called Valley Crest. Not to go through everything that I've went through the past few times, but I'm going to just kind of give you the highlights again. This development has a total of 278 acres. 174 of it is green space, common area, areas that we're trying not to grade in and things like that. There may have to be some ponds built and some dirt taken from one site to another, but if it is, it'll be planted back in those aspects. But the intention is not to clear cut the whole property. Of this, what you can see on this development, and I can't see the TV to tell if the color's red or not, but the red lots are the 50-foot lots. They're pink. All right, they're pink lots are the 50-foot lots. There are 236 of those. The orange, is that orange?
Yes, pretty close.
All right. Orange are the 40-foot lots. There's 219 of those. And then the blue, purple, there's 71 lots, and those are 80-foot and larger lots. That's 526 total lots that are on this. And I've spoken to you guys and some of the community and stuff along the way through this and tried to take into account everything that we could to try to address everybody's concerns the best that we can without being into design, since that's the next phase of this is the design. One of the few things I wanted to point out was there is a little small white blotch on the entrance road coming off 75. This was a Google Earth base map that had a road name on it that actually wasn't the road. The road's up the road further. So we blocked it out so that it wouldn't confuse anybody on that particular aspect. And then at the connection to Fitzgerald Mountain, we put a cul-de-sac in, and then we still made the connection per the request for safety, and we showed a gate on that. So that is actually part of the master plan to show that's going to be there. I know there was concerns about nobody being able to turn around and that type stuff. So we've handled that in this submission too, and then the connection points for the utilities are shown there as
Always
well.
on the gate, it will have the firemen have a box they use called Knox, K-N-O-X. It's gonna have a Knox box system that lets the fire department get through that gate and head through there.
Right. Yeah, there'll be no other keys to that gate issued, but obviously to the city, which would be fire and police, I think is what we had discussed.
That was very helpful in during the tornado thing, because we actually were able to use the firemen were able to use the Knox box to allow us access to the building there that time.
And that's the main changes that we made. We did a little color scheme changing, but it changed when it hit the TV anyway, so that doesn't matter.
I'm not sure these things match, because he said purple, I'm still seeing blue.
Yeah. But that's the majority of that, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys might have. I know some of you heard this multiple times, but anything I can answer, I'll be glad to. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay close, we may have some questions. Is there anyone else here in favor of this project that would like to speak at this time? If there's not, then we will listen to anyone who might be opposed to this project. Yes, ma'am, you need to step forward and,
Actually, I just want to clarify the little white dot.
yes, the white dot is just where they just, they didn't want any confusion about the name of a street, so they just basically erased that. It actually was a technical error from Google Earth. It's showing the name of a street that's not actually there, so.
May I ask what the name of the street is?
I don't know that there is really a name on that particular street, is there? Yeah.
The reason why I asked is because that is on where that runs alongside my property.
Mhm.
And I made them aware that there is a dedicated road.
Yeah, but it is not,
That's not actually put in there, but there is a right of way.
right, yeah. He's just making sure that, and that's not part of his plan there. He's just wanted you to know, he basically erased the,
I can address what she's talking about.
okay, go ahead.
The easement that she's talking about for the road is
Mhm.
off of our property. It's past us. It's
Okay.
It's not ours.
Okay.
But that road name is actually about 500 feet up the road. So I marked it off. I can't remember what it was, but
I'm sure we're all familiar with Google Maps at times, you know, where it takes us to where we're supposed to be going, and then really where I want to be is a half a block away. So, yeah, it's basically something like that. Was there any other comments from the public? Yes, sir, you can come ahead. And you're also good, too. Again, please state your name and address for us.
Name is George Long, 4438 South Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
I've been in construction for 45 years. Started in 1980, doing other things, and I've been doing it my whole life. And you got all that green area here, and he keeps saying 527 homes. They're not gonna waste that property. Once they get this going, they're gonna build more homes. There won't be 527, there'll be 1,500. I'm not stupid. I mean, he's gonna waste property? What, is this gonna be like over on Double Oak Mountain? Exclusive area? I mean, you don't waste money. He's not gonna waste money. His investors are not gonna waste money. I'm not stupid, or I hope y'all are not. He's not. The people he putting money out, they're not stupid neither. There'll be 1,500 homes up there before we know it, if not more. I mean,
Okay, so to help answer this, Mr. Jones, would you explain about the PUD and how this kind of works there on that?
He's determined. When you submit a plan,
Because actually, that's a good question, because I know a lot of people have wondered about that and the, you know, the technical aspects of the land itself and the reason why this particular plan was put together. But this is a little bit different because it's a planned unit
planned unit development.
Okay.
That's just so it can have different size lots. It's
Okay.
really all that matters.
Okay.
Every subdivision is required to have green space. You cannot build out a complete parcel.
Okay.
So that's indicative
That's
of
the rules
exactly
here in
what you see
Pinson,
there.
we
That's
do
the
not.
rules anywhere you go.
Okay.
There's going to be green space. That's part of the whole thing about trees and everything that's gone about in the last 40 years about maintaining something of a forest and natural land. Once they submit a plan, and it's approved by this body, not this body, the body that approves the subdivision plans, the worst possible scenario on that plan would be they would have to adjust some lot lines due to a rock, they find a underground stream, something that requires a minor adjustment of lots. They can't add lots, they can't even take away lots unless they resubmit plans showing their new design and get it approved. When I say take away lots, again, not one lot that's on an underground stream. But if they were going to eliminate a whole sector, because they've come in, this is what they were going to do, this is what they've bonded, this is what the city's approved to be built, That's all that can ever be built there in perpetuity, unless someone comes back in and submits new plans. And again, they can't eliminate all the green space. There's really not going to be much of an area to change it, even if someone were to present. But by our own rules, we wouldn't approve it.
So mostly the topography, I believe, lends itself toward this particular design.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's why
again,
the-
we were
the-
explained about economic impact of trying to build on the side of a hill and that
Right.
sort of thing.
That's like, this may have a percentage of green space over the required, but that's because of some of the topography won't lend itself to be built on. So when you look at that most northeastern section, I'm sure that's part of that, and that's why there's so much woodage still left in place around that. That's going to be basically going to be just woods. I mean, it's an excellent buffer between anything that ever gets built on the other property. And by standards, to give you an example of that, since that other piece to the left of it is on 79, someone may come in there and want to build a car part manufacturer. Well, there's already a decent buffer that the subdivision left to make sure that those things live in a harmonious type of neighborhood. But there's nothing about any subdivision that can change once it's approved without coming back before the body. And again, this is about the limit on anything you're going to see that's submitted. The green space will be about that.
This, and like I say, that's been one of the things that was attractive to me about this, was the fact that I know a lot of the concern has been about the natural area and about the beauty. There's animal life up there, and I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. But that this allows people to be able to live there and still maintain a large amount. Like say, you mentioned it's 278 acres and 174 in green space. So that's almost 1/3 used, 2/3 green space. So that's a pretty.
60-something%.
Okay, all right. That's huge. And if there was a way for these guys to go in there and use up a higher percentage and give larger lots, by doing that, because they could effectively go with bigger lots, and the green space would be people's backyards, which is technically not green space, then they would say, yeah, we'd probably be doing that. But it's not economical. It would require the homes to be a lot more expensive than what they proposed. So this is kind of a win-win, whereas the houses are more together and things are more compact, but they're leaving a lot more land behind that will be, still for nature.
And other than to install the retention ponds and to put in certain types of utilities, other than maybe between the red and orange lots, which they may grade that down and make it a park-type atmosphere for the residents, I'm sure that some of that will be incorporated. Most of that, they're not going to clear land just to clear land. It costs them money. So most of that will probably remain wooded on those outskirts, even though it's not required. They're not going to use machinery on the side of these same hills they can't build on just to try to cut down trees.
Okay.
And I would like to say, if they could get 1,500 homes on here, or say, as he says, 2,000, it would be more feasible to do it now.
It
than
would
to
cost them
wait
about
later
half as much money to do it now as
Yeah,
to try
but
to
if
do it
you
in
wait,
difference.
it's gonna cost double or
Yes, it's-
whatever. So if they were gonna do it, I would assume they're smart enough to realize that if you want to get 1,500 homes, submit it now. Let's look at it.
Yeah, for y'all's information, when when an engineer does a subdivision, if it's chopped up into phases and he doesn't draw the phases up front, it's really called mobilization fee in almost everything you do. They're starting back up to draw the next phase. It's going to cost them more in engineering,
Oh, yeah.
more to bring back the utility guys. So that will be a common theme when you see most subdivisions built. That's going to be what they're intending to do from the start.
Okay, I think there was another gentleman that wanted to speak.
Vince Bruno, 4443 South Drive. I'd like to understand a little more of why it needs to be tied into Fitzgerald Mountain Road.
Okay, so, we, covered this in some of the earlier.
And I may have missed that. so
No, that's okay. But just to kind of let you know what the scoop was on that is that the, and you guys may want to address this especially if I flub this up. But mostly it's for safety reasons. The first responders were here and our fire marshal and the fire chiefs from the departments were here and they talked about it. And basically, it's a contingency that's in place. They're in it for use in an emergency. And so original design had it basically just be a continuation of Fitzgerald Mountain Road. The Planning and Zoning Commission did not like that because we knew that the traffic, especially from shortcuts that folks might want to take to get down to Rudd School, would be quite problematic for you guys. And so as a result, the developer came back with this new proposal, which basically shows it being a cul-de-sac, which would allow the people that would live in the new development to be able to turn around and go back out, but with an access road that would have a gated, lock gate there on it so that the fire engines and police department could go through there in the event of an emergency. So basically, that's the reason why. I used the example at one of the meetings of it's kind of like an emergency exit. You don't normally come and go out that way, but in the event of a fire or the event of an emergency, everybody's able to run out that door. We've got one in the back of this room right here, so just in case.
Like I said, why would you need that for an emergency access when you have 75 and 79? You already have two accesses.
Well, it's not just access out onto the highway itself, but again, there are events that might take place that might block one of those, and then they may want to be able to bring people in the other way without having to go all the way around. Or if there's an event actually on that street, then it would perhaps they may want to fight a fire from both directions or something. It would allow them to be able to
And
get
the
to
reason
it
why
easier.
you're not gonna fight fire from Fitzgerald Mountain, there's one hydrant in that neighborhood, right there at the corner of South Drive and Fitzgerald. It's an orange top. That's 500 to 999 gallons a minute. No fire truck carries enough hose to lay that. And you're gonna have to have a truck in the middle to pump, even to the top of Fitzgerald, so you're not gonna fight a fire from that way.
No, it's for access, for them to be able to drive the truck through to be able to get up into this new area there on that.
At what point would they ever make that another, say, hey, we're taking the gate down, we need another thing?
Yeah.
As part of this zoning, it goes in with it in there, that the city's the only one that has the access to that gate. There's nothing we could do as a developer, engineer, anything that can take that gate down.
So basically, the gate is as permanent as the road itself.
I get it, I'm a firefighter.
Okay,
That's right.
good.
So I know,
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, it's not gonna, that hydrant's not gonna do anything for my house. And you got the fire department, and you're adding all these homes, now we're gonna make an emergency entrance that they can't even cover that many rooftops anyway. That's why I'm trying to understand emergency response. What we have, and you got houses packed this close together, one catches on fire, you're losing 5, because you're gonna lose 2 on each side of it.
Well, actually, that's a good point, and that was my big concern way back at the first planning and zoning meeting. And would you like to speak about the building codes and the fact that once these things, and Mr. Ferris may want to talk about it too, and that is that since these homes are being designed to be so close together, that the building code allows for the construction technique and materials to allow that particular spacing, because I thought one goes up, you're gonna at least lose the 2 on the other side. That's on a good day, and that's not acceptable. So we need to get more space in between these. And then I was told, hey, wait a minute, you're kind of old school technology here. We've got some new stuff here that we're using to build these houses out of that keeps these things from happening. And I pressed the fire departments, actually. I said, hey, what's the deal here? And they said, oh, no, Robbie, we can handle this now. Now, I'm not going to tell you that more than one house won't burn up, because who knows what might actually start something up there, but I'm just saying that their professional opinion is that just because one home goes up in smoke does not necessarily mean that more than that have to
Depends on
go
your
up in smoke.
response time, your water, how many people you got, there's a lot, plus the new stuff, yes, it is less It's more flame retardant, but it burns hotter once it gets hot. It's gonna cook.
Right.
So, okay, thank you.
Okay, appreciate it. So was there anyone else? Okay.
Good evening. My name is, excuse me.
You okay?
So sorry. I'm Karen Jones. I got it. I'm sorry. I'm Karen Jones. I live at 4450 South Drive. And you've seen me 3 times before. I appreciate you having me back again. In our new letter we got was changed from PUD to RP planned unit zone. Can
And
someone
part of
explain
that
the
was-
difference?
Yes, and basically it was the same intent there on that. We had our legal team go through, and in order to match up with the exact wording that we have in our zoning ordinance, that's the exact wording that actually matches
In the
that up.
Pinson zoning ordinance?
Correct.
Okay, so still no Section 8, no rentals. There's a lot of communities around us now specifically building high-dollar homes, rental only. That's not this development, correct? Okay, and these homes are going to be the 40-foot lots by 40 by what? Depth. 120, okay. The 50s, all 120? All 120. Okay, and you lost the picture up on the screen. Can you bring it back? Yeah. Would be nice if you would turn some letters for us.
He's flipping it back for you, so.
Pull it down.
I just, I mean,
First question, PUD is the overall plan unit development, RP is the section there.
Yes, good point, because we also have PUDs that have commercial affiliated with them too. And so we could have something that's like this, and then on the front half, it could have been, could have been a commercial portion. This, which we've stressed all along, is strictly a residential only project.
okay.
He's got the picture for you.
Thank you. On, again, last meeting, I discussed the 40-foot lots, the orange ones, orange in my eyes. You've got large lots in the blue coming from 75. You get to the large lots in the back, thank you for the cul-de-sac, that was a big contention there from Fitzgerald Mountain. You've got the large lots in the back, so I'm assuming these are the more expensive homes, the larger homes, more square footage, larger lots. So you've got me driving from the blue, through the orange to the blue, and these 40-foot wide lot homes, people with three at least cars, you're going to have cars all along these streets. These are the houses that people probably will buy first, because all of you are convinced that everybody wants a smaller home and no yard and nothing to take care of. Where do you plan on parking? I have 5 cars in my family, 6 if you count, 7 if you count the boat.
Majority of these generally have a garage.
1-car garage?
And then the setbacks, depends on how the house is laid out. And I can't, I'm speaking to you from experience. I don't have the house plans for these to tell you. But the setbacks allow for 20-foot wide worth of driveway.
So half of your yard is a driveway.
We will put something in the CCNRs that require that says no on-street parking. We can't ticket them, obviously.
Well, then what good is it?
Well, so-
Pardon me, sir, but you know, we have parking on my street. We have ordinances in our neighborhood, no parking on the street. Nobody comes through and does anything about it.
Ms. Jones, please address the council because.
Thank you, sir.
We can't do the back and forth.
So.
Gotcha. But I'm just making
I
a
do-
point.
well, you-
People will
but
park
that-
on the
that,
street.
You can say that in a second.
That point is actually well taken, because that was a concern of mine. It was a concern of public safety, because the same fire engines that we're talking about trying to get in, otherwise, they can't get by when people are lining the roads, so that's an issue that we have. So my request is that these be designed to hold a minimum of 4 cars in the driveway. So the houses would have to be set back far enough, and then the driveway wide enough to be able to get 4. Because we look, sometimes people have parties and stuff and people park on the street, but as a general rule, parking on the street is not allowed. And so when people start doing that, and if it became a problem, they would be ticketed and potentially towed. So, but that again falls not on the developer, but that falls on the city, who would be regulating the streets.
Okay.
But that is a good point, because on-street parking is not something you can have a bunch of, and, well, kids popping out and everything else is not good.
Exactly. And to Mr. Bruno's point, there's a 75 entrance and a 79 entrance. Why would Bradford Fire Station pass by one entrance on 79, 75 from Palmerdale, Palmerdale from 75? Why would they pass by and go to Fitzgerald Mountain Hill to get through?
I think
They
that.
wouldn't. They
Well,
wouldn't.
it's not the entrance, so to speak. You have to imagine, and I wish, well, some of our fire folks were here
I
tonight.
have
They're a little
fire
bit
friends.
busy. So it's not necessarily the initial on-site that they have. It's more of a case of, hey, look, we've got this big problem. All these people are blocked out of their house because this place is on fire. We want to be able to have a second access, or the thing has gotten out of control. We want to be able to go in the other way. They can give you all these horror stories about how things can happen. Again, it is the emergency exit, not something they want to use, obviously, but it's just there just in case. They look at this density and they say, we want to have 3 ways in. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Well, and the fire guy, and I can't remember his name that was here, I won't say Scott, I may be wrong.
Brandon Tua.
Brandon, yeah, the one that was on the planning commission. He also mentioned the fact that this road was stubbed to be connected, and that it's also for them as well as it is us, or a wreck down at the bottom, or some emergency situation from the bottom too, not solely for this. So it's both ways, works both ways.
That's true. This could technically be opened in order in case there was something on your street, or not your street, but on the neighbors there on Fitzgerald Mountain. They could
Technically my street.
a reverse flow, if you want to look at it that way. So, yeah. Right now, it's, you got a helicopter from the top of the hill in, but this way you actually could bring a vehicle in from the other direction, so. And the road was designed to be extended. I think the question, though, was that there's a difference between the density of these homes versus the ones that were there in the initial deal. Obviously, the market has changed and the cost. They told us that homes in your area now to create this would be in the $600,000 to $750,000 range, I believe, is what it would cost. And we don't really have that kind of market here in Pinson for those $500,000 plus homes yet.
So speaking of the cost of the homes, what is your proposed cost of a home? All of them, even including the biggest ones, the bigger lots? Right, so we're talking 3 to 5.
If you look at the average cost per square foot, it ranges from like $280 to $590. You can Google that and check it yourself, see what I'm talking about.
I have. I still question the density. I have children of this age group who, quite honestly, have difficulty buying a home. But I really don't think that Ridge is the place for it. 526 homes is a lot of houses. Putting that many homes on a school that's burdened already, and Ms. Floyd, I hope you can I hope you can appreciate that. In hopes that if you build it, they will come, and the new school will come. That's a lot, that's a big if. That's a big if. That's a lot of houses, a lot of potential kids. I'm not against growth. I truly am not against this growth. I do not dislike the fact that you guys want to build back there. I do worry about the animals, but I just don't think that many homes is going to be good for our city as far as the schools that we have now. And I don't think that you can build a school quick enough, or even, I don't even know where you would build a new Pinson Valley High School, except on the cattle down the street. I just wonder, I worry about that in our future and our schools being too small as it is already. Thank you.
Let me ask Bob. Bob, when do you propose this, if it gets approved, when do you propose development would start?
Well, it'll take about to do the subdivision plans and get them turned in and have that will at least take, I'd say, another 6 weeks. James, what do you think on the engineering and stuff? Just to get it to the point of preliminary?
It'd probably be 6 months.
6 months before they break dirt, we'll say.
And when do you think that it would be completely developed out?
Completely?
Mm-hmm.
10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
10 years before it's all completely?
I'm giving you that because it would be no less than 6 if they just had houses flew in on helicopters.
All right.
This is a monumental task. I will, while I'm standing here, I want to address something about Fitzgerald Mountain Road. First of all, that's illegal in these standards. Now, you can't stub a road out except for one house, because what you've had there is water's running down into a stubbed road, which is not curbed, and water's just been running under the end of that road forever. It's a mess. One positive thing about all of this that I just want to point out for the city, and I hope it resonates here, is when he builds that road and installs his drainage and his curb, he's going to take that water out from under Fitzgerald Mountain Road and disperse it where it should be going to begin with, and not down the road. And so hopefully that would be a positive that we see pretty well happen soon. And when that's done, maybe Fitzgerald at that end could be kind of put back together. Because am I not right, guys? It's kind of messed up there at the end. Well, water's running under it. Water kills your pavement. That's the whole enemy of pavement, water.
Yeah, there, and actually the folks that live on South Drive, I think, is actually even worse there on that. But there's numerous reasons I got with the road guys, and I'll find out about that. So I want to say something about the school issue
Yes,
here.
thank you.
I spoke to, I've talked to Dr. G, I've talked to Mr. Dixon, and of course they can't say anything definitive, you know, as they tend to do, because they're always in a state of moving around things. But they look at what's going on as far as for the trends, as far as for where the people are having things. As everyone up here knows, Pinson was on deck to get the next new high school, and we got bumped. It went to Clay Chalkville, and the reason why we got bumped was because they've got a significant development going on over there that's on the books, and they took that to Dr. G, and you know, he would be derelict in his duty if he stood there and ignored that fact and didn't start planning ahead. So basically we then moved down to number 2. The plan right now is for Clay Chalkville to have theirs in 2027 and Pinson to have our new high school in 2029. So it would tie in well with that. The plan is to do something similar at both places, which would basically be reusing the existing campus, building a multi-story facility out in the parking lot, what's now the current parking lot, then tearing down the original structure and then turning that into the parking. So I think they would plan on reusing the fine arts section and that sort of thing is the plan. Again, that's the tentative ideas there from the Board of Ed. So while we're not in the education business, we don't prescribe all that. they would be definitely made aware of this, and would certainly make allowances to make sure that our students have a place to be able to go to school, and future potential students would have that, so. Thank you. Ma'am, I did see your hand this time, so you're gonna come forward? Okay.
Gwen Brady, 360 Pine Mountain Lane, Remlap. I am still concerned about the white blotch, and the reason why is because it's only on my property, okay? And that is a nice-sized little blot right there. Generally, if you are presenting something before a board, before a governing body, you want it to be as correct as possible. I would like to know, since my property has been surveyed at least twice, very thoroughly, and I don't know of any other right-of-way or any other road that has been named in that specific spot. Can you please tell me what it is that you have that led to that blot?
He explained that he got that actually off the internet, and
Okay,
as we know,
so are you
sometimes the
saying-
internet's not very accurate.
So are you saying that it really doesn't exist?
He's,
Because
the road does not
The
exist.
road does not exist there.
I know the road does not exist, but there is nothing, Google got it out of thin air.
I don't know where Google got it.
Well, I don't either, that's why I'm asking, but it concerns me, and I don't think that that's unreasonable to be concerned about.
Your survey would supersede whatever Google Earth has.
Okay, well, there's about 10 surveys.
If your survey doesn't show it, then it
It-
wouldn't be relevant. I can't change the Google Earth image.
Well,
So
whether the survey shows it or not, I would guess that whatever is on file at the probate record office for the properties would be what would rule.
Yes, they don't, this was strictly for educational purposes, for us to be able to see. Yes,
Okay,
a
well, you
visual
can
to
understand,
kinda
since
put
it
in there.
concerns my property, I'm asking, where did it come from?
Yeah,
Okay.
he explained that.
All right.
Came from, and
Do
the,
you know if there's been any archaeological studies?
well, that's the purpose for the, for this. That, all that cost a lot of money, and so the developer would like to get permission to move to the next
I see.
stage before they go out and spend a lot of money on that.
Then could you explain to me why Wiregrass Archaeology was on that property on March the 14th?
It's not my property, so I don't know.
my assumption is they were probably working on that little piece that's below it where the,
Oh, where the senior living center's going? Okay. Mhm.
Well, apparently they went
That's
far enough
exactly-
back over in there, though, that they were able to see a structure which they would not have been able to see from the highway, because the structure that they were interested, or rather had an interest in, was a 1930s structure, which would have been a Depression-era home, which was built on my family's property. It had nothing to do with this proposed subdivision.
and whatever they were doing had nothing to do with us.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't our guys.
So y'all didn't hire them?
No, but there are
Yes, I
other,
know.
like I say, there is other projects going on right here.
Well, when they
This
go
area.
on private property that far back, up in there, because this would have been, where I'm saying this house is, it would not be anywhere visible from the highway.
So were they were on your property?
They knew it was there.
No, but I mean, they were actually on.
They
on
knew
your-
that it was there.
On your property.
I have no idea, because I saw their truck, and that's a big, expansive
Mm-hmm.
piece of property. Or rather, there's several pieces of property, and it's all woods right now.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So I
the
have
only
no
reason I
idea.
say that is because if you found people trespassing on your property, please call 911 and let them know. There's no reason for you to have trespassers up there.
Well, I took a picture of their truck, and they were parked in the drive that accesses the subdivision, or the
Yes, and
proposed
that's
subdivision.
also the entrance, like I say, the property that's down below that is where this very large project that's ongoing is taking place. So it would not be, that project begins this summer, it's already been approved and all, so it starts up this summer, so it's very likely that there's gonna be a lot of people over there working.
Well, I appreciate your time and your energy. And as far as the flammability of homes, I would wonder what some of the people out in California would say at this point about their homes and the flammability of it. So, thank you.
Thanks. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Vincent Spalding. I live at 3724 Fitzgerald Mountain Road. And I have a question. I know you all are still in the planning phases, but the traffic that will be coming through, as it stands right now, in the mornings, there's already a ton of traffic on Rudd School Road, including school buses that stop and just people trying to get out of that subdivision. And I'm just trying to see, are there plans that are going to help alleviate some of that? Because what's going to happen is if you're putting all of these new homes in, and it's going to bring all of these new students, and there's going to be more buses and more traffic. And right now, if you get to that intersection at a certain time, it takes you a long time already to get out of there. So if you're going to add traffic to that, it's going to be near impossible to get out. So I'm trying to see if there are some plans that are going to help to alleviate that part of it.
Bob, you want to talk about the road impact stuff?
Rudd School Road, as it stands, wouldn't be a factor in this development because the only traffic that would be supplied to Rudd School Road from here would be people that do take children to school. It's impossible to say how many, except to just do to statistical, how many kids would be then going to Rudd School. But unfortunately, the way our entire world works now, buses are almost obsolete, and we see it every day that traffic is lined up in the middle of the road right here going to Pinson Elementary. And I just don't know, out of all the cities I work with, I don't know of anywhere that they've found a plan to work to keep traffic out of the road and make it anything but a nightmare for children to get in and out of school. I could name 10 of them real quickly that's just, you sit there for a few hours in the morning and the afternoon, unfortunate.
There was discussion at some of the earlier meetings about the traffic impact on Highway 75 and 79 and what turn lanes may be required and all that sort of jazz. And again, that's also part of the next steps
Right.
that would take
Now,
place.
if he wanted to know about that, 75 and 79, the entrance to this development, Alabama, the Department of Alabama, ALDOT, will receive plans, and they will determine a traffic study, and they will tell this developer what they have to do at those entrances, be it decel lanes, XL lanes, turn lanes. They hold the cards on both those entrances.
I will say this, that because that's been an issue there, people shortcutting, I guess is the best way to describe it, through Rudd School Road, trying to avoid the traffic. The good news is that there's fixing to be a new shortcut being put in that's up in Palmerdale. Cost a lot of money, but it's basically at this time until they finish the freeway, it's just going to be a shortcut between 75 and 79. So people coming from the north, potentially, if they really are trying to get to Highway 79, they'll be able to avoid the bottleneck that's down here. Well, it's up here, by taking the new Northern Beltline section there between 75 and 79. So, and that'll actually be completed in not in the not too distant future. You can't see from the road how much progress they're being made, but if you were able to go up in there, which I've had being the mayor, I've been able to go up and see what's going on. There's a huge bridge being built up inside that thing. And if you actually, I think if you travel over Marsh Mountain Road, I think you can actually see it from below. You can? Okay. It's going to be a significant help there for you on that. Now, morning and afternoon school traffic problem, people actually that need to be on Rudd School Road, which is the purpose of the road was to get to Rudd School. that won't help any at all with that. You're still gonna have the issue there of how many people are trying to go to the school, so,
Yeah, my concern is just more people coming now.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Ms. Woodward, are you working on a traffic study plan down there for you guys? I know she would kill to have a third lane put in down there to be able to get by, and that's something we really ought to look at, is to see, because people can't get by, and it's crazy. So it does need to be fixed, but that needs to be fixed regardless of the traffic. It's already overloaded. Is there anyone else? Okay, at this time, I will close the public hearing. Yeah, let's see here. Was there any other discussion among you guys as far as for questions and stuff for these folks?
I have a question.
Okay.
Has there been any research on, maybe from the census, of the average income for someone in Pinson and the affordability of the homes?
Not by our group, but I've been involved in 2 subdivisions that's been built here, and through those groups, there were some studies done. The average income, what is shown, you can Google this, look, is actually pretty low.
So do you think that they will be able to afford a 3 to 5 house?
That's the reason why we went with some of the lot sizes that we have here is, everything bigger than that would have put it out of everybody's range.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make sense. I'm wondering if even the lowest, even if it's at 3, is that still affordable for Pinson?
If you look at, everywhere that you build this house and pick it in Fultondale, it might be 240. You build it in Hoover, it might be 340. You know what I mean? But so you have to look at the average on that. And what's going to change the actual cost of the house is going to be what building materials cost at that point. So if we get a good situation with low interest rates, low building materials, those houses might come down some. Same square footage, same materials, same everything, but it may come down some. But I always thought rates would be down already too, and they're not.
Yeah, we'll see how that's going.
Okay, so, I said some of this before on the thing here. Mr. O'Toole's here tonight. He's our chairman of our Planning and Zoning Commission. He had a statement that he made, and Mike, I was actually hoping you might step up and say something on this thing right here, but since you didn't, I want to take the liberty of stealing your line. And and he talked about the fact that this project has, some negatives from the people that are in the neighborhood that live nearby there now because it's change. And, I'm no different. Everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute, this is a big change over here. And people are always nervous about that sort of thing. So I can certainly appreciate that, because I live in Innsbrook. It's had many changes over the years, and every time something changed, we were like, uh-oh. My wife's here tonight. She can tell you, we've seen it right behind us before, and we're like, whoa, what's going on? This place is different from what it was when we bought here. So, but for the folks that are not directly impacted, in other words, those that are not, within earshot of where the place is, they're asking for a lot of other stuff. And they're like, hey, look, Pinson's kind of stagnant here, guys. Nothing's happening around here. What's going on? We really want these new restaurants. We really want to have more variety on that. We really want that new high school. We want to have these new things. We want to have more shopping. We want to have all the things that we see some of our neighbors have. And one of the key things they look at is population. And so they go, hey, look, is there enough here to justify us spending all these millions of dollars to be able to put in this restaurant or put in something, another nice service? Dr. Gosselin is looking, he's saying, look, how many students do you have over there? If you've got a stagnant area where you're not increasing your population, let's go around and look at some of the schools that have closed over the years. They close because the places age out, people then begin to move off, and they just have lesser and lesser kids, and the next thing you know, it's just not needed anymore. They end up putting your kids on the bus and moving them out of the way. Now, we're still a long way away from that here in Pinson, but we are at the place, though, to where they're like, do we really want to spend any more money over at that joint, because it may have plateaued, and so if it's going to be on the downhill run, then they may say, hey, we can probably just limp along for a while longer and continue to do the repairs and the minor additions and the updates that they've given us over the years. Or if they say, hey, look, this place is happening again, they're back doing things and their population is increasing, we're back on the radar and they're like, okay, wait a minute, this is a vibrant place, things are happening, we need to be able to start making some changes. So we get a lot of feedback from folks that want things to be bigger and better here in Pinson. And so I look at this particular project and I go, this is great. And the reason why is because I'm like, this allows us to be able to have an increase, a significant, potentially significant increase in our population because of this. By the time it's completed, it wouldn't be an instantaneous thing. It's not like we're fixing to have to, start having to have services available for an additional, potentially, let's see here, 500 homes, so 1,000 to 3,000 people, we could say, on there. It's a pretty good jump, with the population of Pinson that would happen but it would not be instantaneous. And then I look at the fact that the green space deal, and I'm like, man, I'm a big nature guy. And I'm like, hey, look, we get this and we still get to have the nature. I'm like, this is a plus. So, I'm looking at, it's kind of a win-win scenario there from that. Again, it's negative from the folks that live nearby because the change that's involved. The positive, though, is that, they will also get the benefit of being able to have these new places and everything. As Mike put it, though, he said, look, a lot of us grew up here. We've been here for a long time. We like kind of that rural, homespun atmosphere that we have. But he says, look, the reality is if you like rural, you're going to have to eat at home. And I think that right there kind of put it well. Did I get that right, Mike? So, okay. So, there just aren't a lot of restaurants out in the middle of the country. And so when we have restaurants here, but we don't have as many as what some might like, or at the particular level that some have expressed an interest in. So from that perspective, then I look at it as being a plus. So.
By the way, I didn't say there was anything wrong with eating at home either.
That's true, especially when you got good cooks like we do.
All you have to hear is, we need a restaurant here, we need a restaurant here, we need
Yep.
a restaurant here. It's not gonna happen until,
That's true.
some things change. It's not gonna happen.
That's true.
Yeah, it is a vicious circle, if you want to look at it that way. If you want growth, business-wise, tax revenue-wise, you got to bring people in.
All right.
If you bring people in and don't have those services, your tax revenue is still going somewhere else. So it's kind of a vicious circle. If we don't do one, we don't get the other. If we don't get the other, we don't get one. So
I'll give you something on your statistics. Being in Kimberly and helping them in the last 15 years, there's been over 2,000 homes built. In Pinson, there's been probably less than 200.
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. I will also say this, having the privilege of being the mayor here, I've had some folks, this has gotten out into the news, I've had other municipalities, they have learned about this project. They have told me, hey, if you guys in Pinson don't want to have this, please have your developer get in touch with us. We would love to have 526 new homes come to our area. They are like, you guys need to understand the privilege of having someone being willing to invest a significant amount of money to be able to do something like this. So again, from that perspective, I think it's important to know that there are others that covet being able to have the possibility of something like this. So That was it. All right, let's move on next to, we have a,
Point of order.
okay, go ahead.
You need to close the meeting officially.
I did.
Oh, did you?
I
Okay.
did. So,
I
you're
didn't
okay.
catch that, my bad.
All right, so we're next going to move on to okay. Bob, would we be in, would it be in order at this time to entertain any motion concerning this?
Yes, sir, if you've entered back into your meeting, it's the appropriate time to vote on that.
Okay, and just for clarity purposes here, I don't know if we took a look at that right there. A vote like this right here, and Madam Clerk, you may have to chime in on this. Does this require a supermajority or a majority of the total number of council
Should be
members
just
or
a
not?
majority.
Just a majority.
Okay, of those that are present or
Yes.
those that are?
Those that are present.
Okay, I wasn't sure since this was a change in that particular aspect, I wasn't sure how that worked. Okay, all right. So I will, if there, anyone here would like to offer a motion regarding the potential rezoning, I think, do we have the exact wording that we're supposed to have on that? I want to make sure that we say the right things. Bob, do you have that, you read it off or somebody did there when we got started?
I do not have the paperwork that Chris supplied, but it would just be a motion either to approve the zoning or deny the zoning contingent upon approval of the subdivision case.
Okay, all right, thanks. Is there someone who would like to make a motion regarding that?
I'll do it.
Can you repeat what he just said?
No. I'm gonna make a motion, whatever Bob said.
Commissioner Kirkland, it would be, do you want to make a motion to approve the rezoning or to deny the rezoning?
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the new zoning or deny the new zoning.
Which one would you like to do?
Oh, I wanna make a motion to approve the new zoning.
Okay. A motion to approve the new zoning contingent upon approval of the subdivision case.
Excellent. Is there a second? I'm gonna hold out this time for a while because last time I didn't do that, I got into trouble, so.
Well, I'll make one comment, final comment. About a year ago, wasn't it? We got slammed up here because we wouldn't vote on some feasibility study for spending $10,000 to say that we could have a new school. And we ticked off to Dr. Goslin, and we didn't get a new school. We were supposed to have gotten one, but we didn't. And so now that we pretty much guarantee a new school, especially if we get these people coming in, or potentially they'll be here. And so now we got a tool here to do this, to make sure we get a new school, and we may not get it if we can't warrant that we deserve, that we need it. So I don't understand. We got three or four of us got slammed for it because we wouldn't.
It's occasionally gets brought back up to me even now, so, yeah. Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. Again, I'll call and ask if there's a second.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I have a problem with doing this without getting it back to the planning board. I think since they've been involved in this all the time, and we have been on the sideline, so to speak, on this, but I think it should go back to the planning and zoning board before we vote.
Well, Bob,
Planning and
go ahead and
zoning
explain the sequence again of events and about how planning and zoning will be involved in this
Right.
project in the future.
What the process is someone brings in property and discusses rezoning, goes through a rezoning case. If the rezoning is approved contingent upon the next phase, then the preliminary plats for a subdivision will be created and brought to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission will review the plat to make sure that it is appropriate for the the subdivision that they're requesting fits all the rules in the city and all the questions are answered, and then they will make a decision on the subdivision. So they brought forth the zoning with a favorable recommendation. Again, it will all be contingent upon the subdivision approval. But they sent the zoning case, which is the only thing we're dealing with at this point, forward with a favorable recommendation. If you vote to approve it tonight, they will prepare some plans and they will make an application and come forward with a subdivision case that will go to the planning and zoning to be reviewed. They do the subdivisions. That's the way the state law is set up.
So we're basically at that stage of the game there. Now so the planning and zoning took a look at this, did a deep dive, and they, not only did they approve it, they approved it unanimously. There was no
Yes,
dissent.
they sent it
There
favorable.
within that board, which is an even larger body than what ours is. Then that moves on now to the city council for our consideration.
The city council by ordinance changes anything about the master plan, which is what the zoning ordinance is drilled around. So yes, then the subdivision itself will be handled inside planning and zoning. So it will go back to them. And until they approve the subdivision, nothing is really done, period.
Did that make sense? So there's a motion on the floor, and I'm looking for a second.
Give me 30 seconds, Mayor.
Okay.
I gotta organize this in my head.
No, you're cool. Would you like to take a break?
No.
Okay.
This is not to approve the subdivision itself. This is approving zoning for the property where the subdivision is proposed.
That is correct.
In light of that, I second the motion.
Okay.
That's correct.
Because nothing happens, even if the zoning is approved, nothing happens until the plan for the subdivision is approved.
Is approved.
So,
That is correct. And as Bob stated at the onset, if nothing happens within 24 months, it actually reverts back
Yeah,
to the
if they-
current
if
zoning
they-
again.
If you did this, as you've seconded, and for some reason, pick a reason, nothing is done on the property for 24 months, then they can come back, but they have to come back. It will revert back to its original zoning, and they could go through the process again. So if this is approved, subdivision is approved, they have 24 months to get something in there, it looks like a subdivision.
And it doesn't mean it's finished. It means
No,
they
no,
have to be making
substantial
progress and
improvements.
going on the thing.
If they get some roads put in and, anything at all, that water and sewer and just the starting of subdivisions, because see, it's bonded. I don't mean to bore you with the whole thing, but once they get approved, they have to put up a bond about all these things that's gonna happen, so they don't just run out there and dig a hole and leave us to fill it up. And I'm being very minimal when I just say dig a hole. Run out there and make a mess.
Yeah, I think that happened at Rudd Middle School, and they, the guy went out of business, and they had to bring in the bonding company and finish the job, so it took a little bit longer. So unfortunately, that does occasionally happen, so that's the reason why
Well,
the city protects it.
It happened in the backside of Innsbrook. Most of those roads were already installed.
Yeah. So everybody understands basically, and it's a little complicated, it's a little bit different than the normal scenario. And like I say, this is the biggest thing that we've had probably in the history of the city, quite frankly. Because Innsbrook, that was one of the reasons that got me motivated to get more involved, was one that was done through the county, and it was a incremental process, and each time they came and they said, oh yeah, this looks good, we'll do a little bit, and then, oh yeah, this looks good, we'll do a little bit, but nobody had any foresight to say, hey, look, what's gonna happen when you build houses up on the top of that hill? All that water's gotta go somewhere. Well, it ended up just completely ruining all the streets, and everybody had all kinds of chaos to try to get mitigation put into place. This requires these folks to put together a plan for the whole thing from the top. And then that way you don't sit at the bottom of the hill and go, I really wish these little pipes they'd put in had been this big around because it would have handled all the water that's coming from the top of the hill. So
The newest one to compare, if y'all just want something to look at in your brain, would be Deerfoot Cove. Deerfoot Cove's not far off from these small lots. It's about what you're gonna see.
And again, I would like to say, I agree with the citizens that wants larger lots. I would love to have larger lots, but it's not feasible for what this developer's trying to do, and he's got to make money on it. But this is gonna take 10 years to build out. A lot of people won't even be here. They'll be moved off or whatever. I won't be here. I mean, I hope I'm here, but maybe not here.
Well, I'm neither for nor against this, because I'm a paid consultant, and it's no skin off my nose. But I will tell you that what they're saying is true. Most lots are small nowadays. It's just what it is.
What I worry about, if this council gets replaced and we got new people and they vote for public housing up there, I'd rather see it go to this housing. I don't want apartments, but I understand how you feel. But the only way we can do this is all of us citizens going together that's against, that wants bigger lots. And let's go buy the property. Let's all of them, and then we go sign those loans and we spend all that money and we get what we want. But I'm not willing to do it. I've signed my name on enough loans. I can't.
And since we're in the midst of discussion, again, this is just to rezone the property, and which I think will be beneficial to the city in the long run, regardless of what happens with the development. And with that said, you mentioned the feasibility study for the schools. Nobody says we still can't do that, and in my opinion, we still should do that. So that's another topic for another day, but since it was brought up, I think that's still something we need to do.
Anything?
We can vote.
Okay. Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
Yes.
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. Do we have a number for that?
No, because I don't have a document. They did it as a.
So do we have numbers on those?
No.
Okay, all right. All right, moving on to the next item then. The next item has to do with annexation. Mr. Churchwell.
Yes, we have a ordinance annexation request from Ella Spencer at property on 6840 Ridgewood Drive, Pinson, Alabama, 35126, requesting that the property be annexed into the city. And with the information that they have given and all here, the city council recommends that this be annexed into the city.
That's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Brad, do we have the picture on the?
Yes, but
Jackie's.
Oh, sorry, Miss Jackie.
Jackie's got control now.
There we go. I just want to make sure everybody knew where it was there
well,
on the thing, so.
the property is here where the arrow is on
Correct.
going up towards the pink spot.
Correct.
But
Yeah, he just shows the exploded view there.
I looked on here to give you more road numbers and all like that, but it's not legible. I can't read it.
Well, it didn't come off Google Earth at least, so that's a good plus there on that. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion about this particular possibility? Madam Clerk, do we need to have unanimous consent to consider?
You don't need unanimous consent, but I would do roll call.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
Yes.
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. That ordinance passes unanimously as 2025-08. Okay, during our pre-council, I want to, we're fixing to move into the mayor's report, but during the pre-council concerning annexation, we had a little discussion about the fact that we are approaching an election. It will be coming up next summer, and it's important for the roles of the electors to be accurate, and so the we will basically be suspending having any further annexations of any property that might include any individuals that live on it. We may be able to have some annexations of blank land, but as far as for having any annexations with people, we will have to suspend that pending the, until after the election. Once that's over with, then naturally, we will certainly be wanting to do it again. Now, I think that we can certainly take the applications, we just won't be able to process them. So if anybody's been wanting to come on in, we really encourage you to come and fill out the form, because we are certainly wanting to have more neighbors here in Pinson. But we don't, but the council will not be taking any action until after the election.
And it's a short period of time. The election's in August, so.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
oh, yeah.
short-
yeah,
Short
this is
period
not
of time,
some-
so it's not forever.
Correct. There's more that goes on behind the scenes than what most folks know about the process. Once we actually pass this particular thing, it has to go down and there's some advertising that has to take place, so notification, and then it has to go down to probate, and then they have to do their thing, and then it moves over to the Board of Registrars for these folks. So, all right, so in the mayor's report, I have a few things I wanted to run through right quick for you guys. First off, I wanted to make sure that I publicly congratulated Dr. Goslin for being named the National School Superintendent of the Year for the entire United States of America. He is the first individual from the state of Alabama to ever win that award. It's an award that's been going around, or it's been going on since 1963. We were very excited about the fact that the superintendent right here from our area was able to win that award. It's a big deal. They told me the number, and quite frankly, I don't know that I believe it, but let's just put it this way. There are tens of thousands of superintendents throughout the United States, and the number one guy happens to be, or just doesn't happen to be, but we happen to be blessed to have him as the superintendent here for our area. So again, we wanted to congratulate him publicly for winning that. They had a really nice presentation for him last night that I was able to attend and recognized him. Another thing I'd like to point out is as the recipient of that award, he received a $10,000 cash award, and Dr. G turned around and gave that money back out in scholarships. He's from, and I can't remember the name of the city, but he's originally grew up and worked his first part of his career down in Louisiana. He gave 5 $1,000 scholarships to the students down in Louisiana, and last night he gave 5 scholarships to 5 individuals from the Jefferson County school system. Those 5 recipients were they're seniors, and they had a essay competition that they went through, and they had a judging crew, and standard fare you usually see in a scholarship. So anyway, exciting that he again gave back to the community there, even though, because as he would say, it takes the entire community to be able to have success with the schools. It's not just him, it's the principals, it's not just the principals, it's the staff, it's the teachers, it's folks like us here in Pinson that are willing to reinvest back in our schools, like what we saw earlier tonight. Next, I want to promote, talking about the schools, coming up on April 26th, we are going to be having at the Rock School Complex Auditorium, so that's our nice new auditorium across the street. We are going to, the high school will be hosting a high school band community showcase. That's what they're calling it. So basically, the band has got some smaller subsections that don't get an opportunity to be able to do concerts, and so they want to be able to do that, and so they thought, hey, this would be a great idea to be able to do this for the community. It's going to be, again, on April the 26th at noon, which is on a Saturday, over there at the Rock School Complex. There'll be no charge. Some of the featured events will be a brass ensemble and the mariachi band, and more is what I was told. So there actually will be other groups too. So anyway, I encourage everyone who can, please come over and support the kids. They work really hard on these programs, and they don't really get a chance to get to perform them a lot. And so this is a chance for the community to be able to see them. The next thing is that Chief Horn called me this afternoon and said that, as he's mentioned at previous meetings, that we were going to have the the live fire burn over at the training center. There was some discussion about the potential of having some council members. I think the part about the mayor was actually a little shaky because he's not exactly too excited about running into open flames, but there was some discussion. I think Ms. Kirkland might have been being coaxed to go into that. We're actually going to go into the actual fire area and see what it's like to be a firefighter. That's going to have to be rescheduled because it turns out that the State Fire College has contacted them earlier today and said, hey, that's the day we need to be up there. And when they show up, they lock the gates. They don't let anybody in and out because the training is going on. That's the purpose of the training center. So anyway, he said they would reschedule. So anyone who actually wondered what it was like to be inside their barbecue will get an opportunity in the future, but it won't be on April 25th.
That's good. I will not be able to be there, and I'm excited that they are going to reschedule because I wanted to be there.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay. So, great. I'll let him know that your communication with that fire college instructor worked out well. Let's see here. Also, let me announce that if some of you may have seen on our sign, I'm going to put a post up on our Facebook page. We're in need of some more employees, especially for part-time seasonal employees. We've got some stuff up at the Park and Rec position specifically. Eric may also be needing some folks in the Public Works Department. So if you're interested, please come by, fill out a form. Reach out and call us here at City Hall. They can give you the information that you need to have for folks because, like I say, we are looking for some new people around there. Ms. Erb?
Out on our bulletin, it does say the applications are online, but I figured out today that they're not online, so they're going to be looking into that this week. So if you do go online and don't see an application, we're going to try to fix it this week.
Okay, great. Thanks. That could explain why the online applications has been very slow. It's not there. Okay, good. Okay, let me talk about the City Hall recycling. Okay, at the last meeting I was at, I mentioned the fact that we were having a little difficulty with the cardboard recycling and the dumpster back in the back, and about improper usage of the standard waste dumpster for City Hall usage. We did get those signs up. I have gotten feedback from some of the community. Some folks are naturally, they're disappointed at the fact that it's not a single stream recycling back there. We've had people that have been faithfully using that system. Some of these folks don't live in the city, so they don't have access to the curbside recycling that we all do. So there has been some disappointment. I've explained to them that wasn't our choice. That was strictly a case of the vendor does not have the capability to tip those big dumpsters into the recycling truck, so they have to, it's strictly a truck that goes to the cardboard recycling center. So again, we appreciate the public working with us on that. I've noticed that the volume of the improper stuff seems to have dropped dramatically, but we're going to watch it. Eric told me that we won't know till we get word from them about whether or not we've still got contamination issues happening. But I do appreciate the cooperation and the understanding of the public. That concludes the mayor's report. We had
Mr. Mayor, I have
Yes, sir, I'm
something.
sorry.
I would like to recognize our Teacher of the Year. So the 2025 Jeff Co-Ed Teacher of the Year was Miss Leslie Chatter from the elementary school. So I would just like to publicly recognize her. She's a STEM teacher over at Pinson Elementary.
And Ms. Chatter will be very upset that I didn't mention that
Yeah.
earlier because we've known each other for a long, long time, and her and my wife actually student taught together back when she was getting her education. So yes, thank you for mentioning that. Ms. Chatter's fantastic. She's been up at the elementary school for a long time. It's really exciting. We need to get her down here for a little, maybe I'll try to invite her down since we're going to have the other principals to come in. Maybe she could come down and share with us a little bit about that on that. So, thank you. New business, Mr. Walker.
Yes, I would like to make a motion to recommend Ms. Glentisha Irvin, as the primary delegate for our ALM conference, Mr. Robbie Roberts, mayor type, as the first alternate, and Ms. Glenda Kirkland as the second alternate for our delegates for the ALM conference.
Okay, great. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on that right there. So we have the Alabama League of Municipalities Conference coming up in May. The clerk has to submit the delegates to be able to vote. Sometimes there's action that the group takes. Each city gets a single vote. They like to have backups and backups to the backups. We have occasionally had to use some of the backup people. John can vouch for that. He's done this numerous times. I got to do it once. It was obviously very interesting. So that's basically the story. Madam Clerk, do we need roll call on that, or is that a simple yes or no? All in favor of that recommendation by Mr. Walker, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And so that, Madam Clerk, you can send that on down there to him. I think we're making under the deadline there. All right, next, Mr. Walker, I believe also you had a concerning, this is something that wasn't on the agenda originally, but I asked for it to be put on.
Yes, I would like to make the motion that we release our contribution to the Jefferson County Greenways Commission in support of Turkey Creek in the amount of $25,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Woo! Marie, you get to decide.
Thank you.
Okay. That's why we pay you the big bucks, so you can work out these ties on here. Let's see. Any discussion about that right there? Obviously, we support the Turkey Creek Nature Preserve. This is the entity that actually is running the preserve now, is the Greenways Commission, which I happen to have the privilege of being a member of the board of. And it was brought to my attention at a board meeting today that we had not yet paid our it's not a requirement, but it is a commitment that we've always made in the past. So we thought we might want to add that on. I know that we did not get this on in the 48-hour rule, and I know it's a large amount of money, so I would feel comfortable again about asking for a motion to consider.
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
Yes.
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. So now, Madam Clerk, can we have a roll call vote on the motion?
Counselor Irvin?
Yes.
Counselor Walker?
Yes.
Counselor Churchwell?
Yes.
Counselor Kirkland?
Yes.
Mayor Roberts?
Yes. So we'll go ahead and get that together also. Was there anything else from the dais before I go to public comment? Okay, at this time, if there's anyone from the public that would like to address the council, it's your opportunity to come forward. I've got a taker, a familiar face.
Hello, Dawn Tanner, 7800 Ware Drive, Pinson. I'm glad that there's a date possibly out there for a new high school. That's been going on for years. But have y'all thought about, that probably will be built before anything, the new subdivision, if passed, would be built before the high school would ever be built. Have you thought about going back and talking to Dr. G and looking at the lines, the zoning lines, and getting some of these areas in Center Point Estates and 79, maybe getting them rezoned to Center Point like they did Grayson Valley to Clay? That would alleviate now 2 years or however long it takes, some of the students in the
So
schools.
my understanding is that, and yes, and Mr. Dixon has talked to me about that too, is that they're already pursuing that, and they want to be given some freedom. As we know, there's been some release by the judge as far as giving them a little bit more freedom about that. A lot of those lines were set up way back a long time ago based on some desegregation issues and things. We're pretty well desegregated in these parts, so I think it's not really a big problem anymore. And they may give them the freedom to be able to actually move the lines around. But yes, that actually would be a big plus. It would help a lot out with this bus problem and all this other jazz too. We've kind of got some lines here now where kids are being moved out of their local community, and that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, good deal.
Thanks. Anyone else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
He got you that time. Motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are hereby adjourned at 8:46 p.m.
said document that.
Thank you.
846.
Did you see that?
Wait,